Well, for more on the resiliency of the co-living business model during this era of social distancing, I'm joined by real estate specialist Hugo Romero. He's a senior sales associate with Coldwell Banker. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, the concept of co-living itself isn't a new one, but co-living housing as a niche market for startups, hotels and others really picked up nearly 4 years ago, and it has seen rapid growth since then. What's behind this expansion?
You know, what's behind this expansion, I believe, it's really the economics and in some cases cultural reasons. Like you saw in the report, a lot of young people moving in together cannot afford an apartment on their own, and there are all these millennials and recent grads that have taken into it. It's a more social environment, and I think they've taken advantage of it.
Now, it's interesting because due to the pandemic, rent prices have plunged to record lows in big cities, but co-living still seems to be doing so well. Why that?
Well, because the pandemic changed many things. However, it didn't provide more resources to this sector of the market. So people that were renting in this co-living situation, most likely they were doing that because, again, they could not afford a place of their own. And therefore they wouldn't be able to afford it now during the pandemic, certainly, or they wouldn't be able to afford to purchase, especially in these high rent, high housing prices metro areas.
Now, you touched on this, but I want to dive deeper. What kind of consumer demographic is co-living the most appealing to, and do you see that changing after the pandemic?
You know, I don't see us changing with the pandemic. I think it's more appealing to, again, younger generations, people that are just getting out of college, starting to get into the workforce. That they don't have high salaries, they cannot afford a place of their own. Also, extended family situation. There's a cultural element to this, which is very common to have extended families living several generations in one household, and sometimes they combine their incomes to be able to afford that property. So I don't see that changing in the near future.
Now, you've talked about some of the pros of this model. I wanted to also look at now the cons of this business model, not just for renters, but for the landlords as well.
Well, it definitely presents a great opportunity for landlords and investors. They, like this common company that is investing a lot of money right now in developing this alternative, is because they see that there's a market for it in the future, behind the pandemic, beyond the pandemic. And I agree. It is a more social environment, for unrelated people. They just single people, no families around. They live together. They share the rent. They hang out together, go out to eat, and they share experiences. They share contact. It's a little bit of networking as well. So I think it's a great opportunity for them as well.
So it's interesting. It does seem to be more of a community feel behind this co-living. Now, how do you see this sector impacting the broader real estate market?
I think that eventually we will see more developers like Commons offering this kind of more specialized living arrangement in buildings, in condominiums, perhaps condos. I think it probably is something that will be developed as we move forward. Like I said, it's not anything new. We have this for generations. I myself, after I graduated from college and moved here to the DC metro area, I shared an apartment with some friends because, again, we couldn't afford an apartment on our own. So I don't think that's changing. I think there will be more offerings. There will be more alternatives and options for people, but I don't see it going away.
And just quickly, investors obviously seem very optimistic. What are your long-term projections for this sector?
I cannot tell. I don't know exactly, how things are gonna play out. But from what I've seen, from the number of co-living opportunities that I've seen in the MLS, share houses, group houses, I don't think it's going away. So I think it's a great opportunity for investors, for these investors that want to target this niche market. I think there will be some great opportunities in the future. And again, as they are developed and they're more, they get more of a designer feel and they're more targeted to these portions of the society, I think investor will do well.